Okay, hello my darlings, it's Michaela. So I just thought to share some words of encouragement for your happy 4th of July day and weekend, okay? So happy 4th of July. And what I thought about talking about was not getting hurt, eating in a manner that you're not gonna regret, and also drinking in a manner that you're not gonna regret, all right? And I talk about those two things a lot with my fat burners and in the realm of social media. I'll attach links for everything at the end of this. So if you're with your friends, family, at a pool, at the beach, in the ocean, at some green space, and you're horsing around, what I would encourage you to do is to do stuff that is fun and outrageous, that's silly, that's like not typical, but not stuff that's going to potentially hurt you. So if you're like, well, we're all like daring each other to do like double backflips off of this like diving board, and if it's like, you know, the worst thing that's going to happen to me is I'm going to smack my back, I'm going to do a belly flop, like, okay. If it's like, I'm going to like, you know, race my nephew down this field again, and I felt this little like thing in my knee the first time, don't do it, okay? Stay safe. And often when, you know, we're in a group or with people that like we love and that are fun, and potentially we're drinking with, people are uninhibited, they feel bolder, and this is often when people do stuff that they don't typically do, and they do stuff that they wouldn't reasonably do. So what I would love to encourage you to do is to make a point to not get hurt, okay? If there's like a little like warning sign in your brain, please step away. Number 2, food. So what I would encourage you to do, this is what I encourage my fat burners to do, is if you know you're going to have a big deal meal in the middle of the day, later in the day, dial back what happens before it and or around it. So one thing that we do, what I do as well, is something called intermittent fasting every day. We use bulletproof coffee every day, which is amazing, which basically enables the body to like work off its fat reserves. Fabulous. So when some big lunch happens later, it's like, it's just a normal day for us, but there's more space for that feast. And then additionally, what fat burners will often do is they'll tone down what happens afterwards, if anything even happens. It might just be like a big one meal deal day. And that can happen when you're in a fat burning mode. If you want to know more about that, I'll attach a link below. But if you are someone that eats breakfast, you might want to tone it down. And so what that means is, if you're not that hungry, you know, when your party's at noon, maybe 2, I don't know, however your body works, maybe you don't eat breakfast, maybe you just have coffee, like nothing that makes you feel compromised, but this is totally possible in a fat burning mode, comfortably. Or you eat something a little more minimal, because the truth is calories count. And if your waistline is something that matters to you, and you've really been aiming to kind of, you know, treat yourself in a certain way, or you have particular goals that you're in the process of attaining, every bit helps, really. You know, one deal, one day is not the end of the story, but every little bit helps. So toning down breakfast is a great idea. Additionally, having like a very minimal dinner, if at all, depending on how long your festivities go on for. So then when you get to the feast, what I would encourage you to do is to kind of decide what's most important to you. So sometimes people, there's like, oh my God, my Aunt Mildred makes this amazing Oreo cookie cake and I can't wait to have it. Great. And then it's like, if there are diabolical offerings that you're totally gunning for, the next question is, do you want like a lot of this? Like, are you really interested in like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna have a bunch of that? Or do you just want to taste? So depending on that, you might want to leave more or less room. Additionally, if you're like, you know what, I don't really want to eat a ton of ice cream, like I don't want to eat, you know, the entire peach cobbler pie, like I don't want that, then what I would encourage you to do is start with vegetables. So if you're someone who's like, you know what, I'm in control, like I'm pretty clear, I'm not feeling like a crazy person, you know, it's like I want to have a good time today, I don't want to worry about what I'm eating, great. Start with vegetables, all right? Start with salad and then have things that are more substantial, generally like hot dogs and hamburgers tend to be, you know, popular offerings at cookouts. I would definitely encourage you to have foods that have protein in them. Fat is what I'm always advocating, but often that's not such a hard thing to locate at a cookout. Carbohydrates are in great abundance. And so those are the things that ideally you just don't want to fill up on, okay? Because they are calorie rich, not necessarily super filling, and not long lasting. So when you eat a bunch of them, our body actually has to store it as fat because it can only hold on to so much sugar, glucose in our muscles, so then it starts to store it as fat. So this, like, just a little logic in there. So in reality, you actually want to have your carbohydrates last in your meal, okay? Or like peppered throughout, rather than like filling up on tons of like bread or crackers or things like that, whatever else might be possible. Have the burger, have it with cheese, like eat things that have some bulk to them, chicken wings, like eat the leg, maybe even eat the skin, because what will happen is with that is it will make you full. And if you are someone that's like, unless you're like, I want to eat every single thing here, if you're more thinking like, you know, I am thinking about my health or my waistline, and I don't want to be hungry, like, so get full. And fat and protein, fat really, but with protein, are things that are super helpful, kind of peppered with carbohydrates, which will be happening undeniably. So then when dessert is available, either if you're like, I have saved a ton of room for that stuff, great, go for it. Enjoy yourself, enjoy your holiday. Or if you're like, oh man, I am full. It's like, I really wanted some of those brownies. Ask to have some wrapped up. Put them in a piece of tinfoil. Take them home. Fall on your own sword to your grandmother or her best friend or whatever and say, these look so delicious, but I am stuffed. Or if you're like, I've got maybe just a teeny bit of room, have a bite. Like, have however much is actually in alignment with your level of hunger and your level of fullness. And the truth is, if you actually honor that, you'll never go that far afield. It's pretty hard to gain weight, actually, if you're honoring those things. Or it's hard to like really go off the deep end if you're actually listening to your body. And then the last thing I wanted to say is about alcohol. And so with alcohol, I'm going to attach another video that's called like Drink Less, Feel More. And I've made this as a bonus for my fat burners. Basically, it's a technique that kind of enables you to like feel the alcohol that you're drinking faster while drinking less of it. It's really cool. But in addition to that, if you are drinking alcohol, just a little FYI, like in order of less detriment, because alcohol is poison. I drink, but it is not good for us. And I truthfully, as I go through this life, I am aiming to drink less and less because it is poison. There's nothing beneficial about it besides like fun, which is beneficial. So anyway, so in order of importance, less detrimental to most in terms of alcohol and calories. Number one is like sparkling wine or champagne. That gives you the most bang for your buck. The most alcohol content with the least amount of calories. Then it goes dry white wine to stuff that's less, dry red wine to wines that are less, clear spirits, dark spirits, I want to say liqueurs, and then beer. And so beer is the worst. Like if you are concerned about your waistline, beer has the least amount of alcohol for the most amount of calories, and actually the most amount of carbohydrates if that's something that you are focused on. So what I would encourage you to do is to drink beer for the taste, not to feel something. If it's like, I'm good, I don't care, go with God. But if it's something like, oh man, you know, like I'm not loving how tight my pants are, like I have to wear a bathing suit, you know, on the regular starting now, honestly, sparkling wine, champagne, and wine is like infinitely better, definitely than beer, okay? And then also what I want to say is please have a glass of water with each alcoholic beverage that you have. Please take your time. Also, what I would encourage people to do, what I'm sharing with myself, what I'm kind of focused on myself, is to kind of prioritize certain engagements over this multiple day span. So if you're someone like me where it's like, I'm going to do something tonight, I'm going to do something tomorrow, I'm going to do something tomorrow night, like the weekend is next, it's like, well, truthfully, I don't want to eat a lot and I don't want to drink a lot every night, every day. So it's like, well, what happens next? It's like, so there will be times that I won't. So with that, like, the truth is, if we're actually focused on our good time, it doesn't matter what we're doing. Like, it doesn't matter to other people what we're doing. And if it does, like, that's kind of their problem. You not drinking is perfect. It's smart. It is like, it is a far more intelligent move than people that are drinking. No judgment. But anyway, so just remind yourself, reassure yourself with that. So maybe there are some events that you go to where you don't drink. It's like I had some wine last night. I had a vodka drink or drinks last night. Like I'm good today. Or tone it down. Like tone down how the beverage is prepared, tone down how many you have. The biggest thing that I want to encourage is to not have regret. So whatever you choose to do, just be behind it. So if that means like eating all the Pringles in the bowl and, eating fried ice cream and, whatever it is, putting chocolate sauce on everything and having multiple beverages and staying up super late, like if you're like, yeah, like I'm having such a great time and I'm gonna do it again tomorrow, I feel fabulous, awesome. If you're like, oh man, like I didn't really want to do that, enter with consciousness, okay? And reassure yourself of the fact that like, basically, like what you're doing is perfect, but also this is maybe a bigger topic and endeavor. The truth is we don't need alcohol to have fun. And the truth is we can actually have more fun without alcohol in our system. Like a child, it is really easy to actually get like lit up and to like get like off on the environment, on the people that you're with. Hopefully you're hanging out with people that are enjoyable. Probably you're doing fun things, active activities. And truthfully, that way there isn't such a heavy reliance on it. And hopefully you're around people that feel good to be around. So it's not awkward, it's not stressful. And again, these are bigger topics, but they're significant topics. I think alcohol is great, but I also know that you don't need it to have a good time, and you actually feel better you can actually have more of a good time when you don't have it, and you certainly feel better the next day. All right, so no regrets. That's the moral of this story.